Stephen A. Smith thinks that Joel Embiid is going to request a trade following all the turmoil that is going on with the Philadelphia 76ers. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We're going to break down the idea of the Knicks trading for Joel Embiid. Also, Ian Begley had some quotes about Embiid going to the Knicks. And then on the tail end of the show, we're going to talk about a player in the Western Conference that is being linked to the Knicks by a beat reporter. So Joel Embiid thinks that Stephen A. Smith thinks that Joel Embiid may request a trade. James Harden is not at training camp, and this James Harden situation continues to hover over the Philadelphia 76ers. And we've talked about it time and time again on this channel that there are a lot of connections between the Knicks and Joel Embiid. Let's start with Leon Rose and Worldwide West. They were both agents of his. They are friends at this point, and they were invited to his very small wedding. So there is a connection there. And Embiid has hinted at the idea over the summer that if he can't win a championship in Philly, he is going to try to do so elsewhere. So for a long time, the Knicks have been marketed as a top destination for Embiid. That comes from Bill Simmons. That comes from Brian Windhorst. That comes from everybody that covers the NBA. But Ian Begley of SNY was on Knicks Fan TV. Shout out to CP the franchise. Good gift for him. He said on that podcast that Daryl Morey doesn't want, from what he has heard, Daryl Morey does not want to trade Joel Embiid to the New York Knicks. And I'm going to just disagree a little bit with that. He may have heard that, and that's true. But I'm just going to push back on the idea that Morey wouldn't want to do that. Think about all of the trades that Daryl Morey has made as an executive. When he trades one star, he is looking to get another star back. Traded Ben Simmons, he got James Harden. He traded Chris Paul, he got Russell Westbrook. That is something that Daryl Morey has always made a staple in his negotiations. He feels like if he is trading out a star, which Joel Embiid absolutely is, MVP, less than 30 years old, he wants to get back another star. Who is a team that could potentially give up the best star, if you want to call him a star or not, for Joel Embiid? I think it's Julius Randle. And I think Julius Randle would fit perfectly in a Daryl Morey type of offense where they want to run and gun, they want to shoot a lot of threes, they want to be a high pick and roll offense, and they want a 5-out offense. Julius Randle shot more than 8 threes this past year. And let's be honest, Daryl Morey is a smart guy. He sometimes will let his ego get in the way, but he knows this. If he is going to trade Joel Embiid, he needs to get the best package possible. And the Knicks, in my opinion, are the best package. And if that package is presented to Daryl Morey, he is going to take that deal. Let's just start with this for starters. If the Knicks are going to trade for Joel Embiid, it's going to involve Mitchell Robinson. It's going to involve either Julius Randle or RJ Barrett. Let's talk Julius Randle in this case, since we know that Morey wants to get a star back in a star trade. Quentin Grimes, 5 first-round picks, 3 unprotected. I'm not sure there's another team in the National Basketball Association that can offer a better deal. I believe they would want Quentin Grimes. They could put Tyrese Maxey at the point guard spot, Quentin Grimes at the 2, Randle at the 4, Mitchell Robinson at the 5, and they can rebuild that way. You're still young and you're still getting some solid players. You're getting 3 unprotected first-round picks. That number may have to go up to 4 for Daryl Morey, but the Knicks have 8 tradable first-round picks over the next 7 years. Some of the most in the National Basketball Association. I want to hear from you, though. Would you make this trade? If you are the New York Knicks and Daryl Morey said this is what it is going to cost if you want to trade for Joel Embiid, would you do it? Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Quentin Grimes, 5 first-round picks, 3 unprotected, and 3 protected picks. Type A for accept, type D for decline. I do know this. If the Knicks make a move, whether it be for Embiid or anybody out there, we are going to make a video. We'll be your go-to shop, one-stop shop all season long. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Knicks videos every single day for free, and we're also going to be live for every single game this season, including the preseason game against the Celtics, which is just a couple of days away. Coming up in a second, Ian Begley on that Knicks Fan TV podcast has linked the Knicks to a Western Conference star. We're also getting this from Woj right now. The Philadelphia 76ers star James Harden didn't practice at Colorado State University on Tuesday, but he is expected to arrive in Colorado as soon as today to join training camp. So a little bit of a development there. I am still expecting for there to be a trade of James Harden. We'll talk about that later. Still think Embiid is not all that happy right now in Philly. But I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor of today's show, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the promo code CLNS, and they are going to match your initial deposit up to $100. So if you put $100 in your account, they'll give you $100 for free. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. It's the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. They already have some season-long averages for the New York Knicks out there. You see Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett. All you simply do is you are choosing more or less on the projected stat line for these players. It's that simple, more or less. And you pick 2 or more players in your lineup. You could choose 2, you could choose up to 6. The more players you have in your lineup, the higher the payout is going to be. I love the quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and the huge selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. One more time, prizepicks.com/CLNS, and use the promo code CLNS. They're going to match your first deposit up to $100. So Ian Begley with CP the Franchise, they were talking about what is next for the New York Knicks. And he said, what about Jaden McDaniels over in Minnesota? Went on to say this. One of the interesting ones for me is Jaden McDaniels. They've got a lot of money committed to Towns, Gobert, and Anthony Edwards is going to command max money, and they also have paid Naz Reid. And I think McDaniels is an interesting name, and I think he fits a lot of what the Knicks want. He's one of the best defenders in the National Basketball Association, plays the 3, can also play the 4, 6'9", 185 pounds, and really what separates him is his ability to knock down the outside shot, and he was able to do that this past year. He shot it at a 39.8% clip. He's someone that has gotten better every single year in his career. He shoots 3.4 threes per night, and for his career averages, he shoots 36% from downtown. 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, above 51%. He's a extremely, extremely talented defender, though. He's someone that can, in my opinion, guard 1 through 4. The only thing that I am somewhat held up on is this. How much does he move the needle, and where would he play for the New York Knicks? Can he play a full-time small forward position next to Julius Randle with Mitchell Robinson at center? I think an area of growth for McDaniels needs to be his ball handling. He's a great defender, and he's shown he can be a good spot-up shooter, shooting over 38% on catch-and-shoot threes last year. But I want to see a little bit more from him when it comes to creating off the bounce for himself, and he will do that. Hasn't even reached his second contract in the league, and he's only going to get better. If it's Jaden McDaniels or not, or whoever it is, the Knicks need to close the gap with Boston and Milwaukee. The East is a 2-horse race, in my opinion. Maybe the Knicks just use this year as another developmental year, and they see how much Immanuel Quickley is actually worth. They see if Quentin Grimes could take another leap. They let RJ Barrett go another year as a full-time starter and see if he can expand upon his role and what he did in the playoffs, closing out that series against the Miami Heat and the end of that Cleveland Cavaliers series. Whatever it is, as currently constructed, I don't think the Knicks are good enough to win the Eastern Conference. And to be honest with you, my goal was the Eastern Conference Finals, at least to get there. You got to the second round last year. If you're not progressing, you're regressing. And in my opinion, right now, the Knicks are a team that's once again looking at a second-round exit. They could make a trade, though. They made a trade last year at the trade deadline for Josh Hart, and it catapulted them into being one of the best teams in the NBA. Should they do the same with Jaden McDaniels? I want to hear from you. Should the Knicks trade for him? Type T for trade, type P for pass. As always, I just want to say thanks, and I appreciate you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, give me a follow over on Twitter @MarshallGreen_.